The delay is because eventually I'll start hearing my voice. Okay, so I've just had the message through. The stream has switched over. So I'm just going to stand here and just vamp a little bit while I wait to see my face on stream. And then I know I am absolutely for certain live. But hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you are having a fantastic time here at Play Festival. I have just seen myself on screen. I can see myself bouncing around. That means that we are live. And I'm good to go. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to the live stream. This is Play 21, coming to you usually live from Hamburg, but today we have a little special thing. I am in Bristol in the UK, and I am beaming this all the way to Hamburg, and then it's beaming all the way into your eyes. So, Play Festival, welcome. This is an interactive live stream, so if you are in the Play Valley Garden right now and want to come and join in, please make your way to the YouTube channel. You'll need to follow the YouTube URL, and then you can get the YouTube chat, type in your things, and the things you type in will affect this stream directly. How will they affect this stream? I'm going to be coming up with 100 game ideas based on things that you type into chat. So, literally any message that you type into chat will be a candidate for the next game idea. So, if you type in the word bananas, I will have to come up with a game idea about bananas. If you type in walruses, then I have to come up with a game idea about walruses. If you type in what's going on here, what are those loud bangs outside? I don't know if you can hear that. It was fireworks night last night, so the fireworks are continuing. So if you hear loud noises, those are fireworks. And if you type in the words, what is that loud noise? I'll have to come up with a game about what is that loud noise. So, welcome everyone to the chat. I have 1 hour to come up with 100 ideas. My name is Alistair, by the way. I am a game designer based in Bristol in the UK. And I make interactive live streams, interactive performances. You might have seen me a couple of years ago at Play Festival, where I did a live show called The Incredible Playable Show, where people could run around with barcode scanners and inflatables and tie tablets to their bellies. You might also have seen me dressed up as Dr. Eggman a couple of years ago for the Play Festival Awards. Anyway, I feel like we are just about ready to start the game. So as soon as I press the spacebar, and you may as well start typing now because there will be a little bit of a delay. So I'm going to press the spacebar. That's going to begin the timer. I'm going to have 55 minutes to come up with as many new game ideas as I can. So with a 3 and a 2 and a 1, I pressed it. The timer has begun. And I am looking for the first idea. I need someone to type an idea into chat. Well, a prompt for an idea. So what you're going to do, you are going to type a word, a phrase, a sentence, maybe even an emoticon, okay? Or an emoji or something. You type that into chat, and that will come up on my screen, and I will have to come up with an idea about it. So, let's see these types. Let's see you typing these things in. I want to see you typing in just anything. What comes? A teen mystery. Okay, so how do we make a game about a teen mystery? Okay, so let's start with okay, what's the mystery going to be? Scooby-Doo is the obvious thing. There is a monster. The monster is terrorizing a fairground. Okay, we've got a setting, but what is the game? What are you doing? You're trying to solve the mystery. Of who is the monster. Who is the monster? It's a fairground-themed monster. It's a scary clown. And you have to find out who the scary clown is you find out who it is by becoming clowns yourselves, and it's like it's a game where you have to do circus skills, like it's Connect-based circus skills, which you do to infiltrate your way into the scary clown's inner circle so that you can get him alone and pull off his clown mask and find out who he really is. Okay, Void. Right, so a game about the void. When you stare into the void stares back. So this would be a game about staring into the void. Staring into the void. Let's come up. Okay, I'm doing well for time. I seem to be doing 1 a minute at the moment. Okay, so the void. Okay, you have to avoid staring into the void, but you need to make other people stare into the void. And so what we do is we have this big sort of black circle which we paint on the wall, and like there's a camera, there's a webcam behind it. The camera can see everyone's eyes. It's doing eye tracking, and it can tell when people are looking at it. And you need to trick people into looking at the webcam that we've hidden behind, like it's like dark glass, one-way glass. And there we go. If you stare into the void, you die. Maybe we have like sensors on each person who comes into the room so that it can tell them, maybe a voice player 173, you are dead because you stared into the void. We could have all kinds of things around the room which you are not allowed to stare into, and it's like an art gallery, and you're walking around the art gallery looking at all the exhibits, and you don't know which ones you're not allowed to look at because they're the void. And some people are kind of like, yeah, okay, this one's fleshed out. I'm moving on. Okay, I think my left eye itches. Okay, so, right. I mean, presumably, if your left eye was itching, you would know your left eye was itching. So, why would you not know your left eye is itching? Okay, so, it's a game where you inhabit the body of another person, but you get all of their sensory information, as a string of text and things. So maybe you can see through their eyes and you can move them around, but in terms of touch and things like that, all of those sensory informations are delivered to you through the form of text. So you need to you need to read the text to understand, for example, I can that bit of text says I'm having a sensation in my right hand, which means I must be able to pick something up. So I'm going to type in squeeze my fingers or something. Maybe it's a text adventure where all your sensory information is delivered to you by text. So it's not like you see a door, you see a thing. It's like, you feel your left arm tingle. You feel your right foot is on solid ground. You feel your left foot is in a wet puddle. Okay, a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon like. I don't know what Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is like. So, let's make it about, so I've got the word like. The word like is jumping out to me because of Facebook likes and Instagram likes. So maybe your job is to create a dungeon for Pokemon to roam through, and you see all the little AI Pokemon roaming through the dungeon. Your job is to make a map that, so you make a map, all the little Pokemon animate walking through this dungeon, fighting off things that you've placed in there, and people give you likes on Instagram or Facebook based on how entertaining that AI progressing through the dungeon was, and you want to get more Instagram likes than everyone else playing the game. Right, a frog trying to get through a lack of alcohol in his weather station at Antarctica. There may be more of that's just been truncated off the end there. But let's see. A frog trying to get through a lack of alcohol in his weather station. So the obvious thing would be like a platformer where you're jumping around in a weather station trying to collect bottles of alcohol. But I think there needs to be more to that. Let's say we realistically model the legs, the arms and the legs. So you do have this jumping frog thing that bounces around. And before you've had picked up any alcohol, the frog can stand upright absolutely fine. The more alcohol you get, the more sort of loose and springy the legs become. And maybe you have to operate each leg independently as the frog jumps around trying to get bottles of alcohol. And and the game gets harder as you try to progress through the weather station level, picking up all these bottles, because your legs, which you're springing around on, get more and more unpredictable. You know, maybe the spring gets softer, or maybe they start to twitch independently of the buttons that you push. Okay, sausage sandwiches. So, a game about sausage sandwiches would be... okay, let's say you play it with real sausages. And... Okay, here's an easy one. You have a bunch of sausages. This is gold, this one. Okay, so you cook a bunch of sausages, you put them all in sandwiches, and then you put your hand in one of the sandwiches so that they look like sausages. Okay, and you want to maybe have a queue of people coming to get sausage sandwiches. You want to get someone to eat your hand sandwich thinking that it is a sausage sandwich. And so the game is about how well can you disguise your hand as a set of sausages. See, banana, yeah! Okay, so I'm thinking about bananas, and I'm thinking about, why would bananas be celebrating? Bananas are celebrating because, why would they be celebrating? Okay, bananas are a fun shape because they roll. So let's have physics modeled bananas, and you can kind of impulse them to flip them around and sort of make them fling around, and you need to get the bananas to the banana party. It's up a bunch of stairs. It's like Fall Guys, where you're all running through all the obstacle courses, but you're a banana, and what you do is, instead of controlling like arms and legs moving and moving around like a normal platformer character, you can flip the banana, and you can choose different angles to flip the banana in, and once you flip it, it's going to bounce around. Maybe you play it a bit like golf. Banana golf. It's like regular golf, but with a bouncy banana instead of a golf ball. That was a much better idea. Okay, Fries Rule the World. Fries Rule the World would be a game about fries that rule the world. So, who would you be in a world ruled by fries? Would you be Ronald McDonald? Would you be the Hamburglar? Would you be someone who wants to eat the fries? Eat the rich. That's what it is. When there is no more food, what will the poor eat? The poor will eat the rich. So eat the rich. Okay, so what if the rich were made of fries? And I think, it's a stealth game. It's a stealth game where you are trying to get up to the top of a tower, like a big tall tower, like, you've got the CEO at the big top of the tower, and then you've got all his kind of minions of decreasing importance going down, and security guards, and they're all made of fries. They are all made of chips, for arms and legs made of fries, and you have to try and sneak past the guards by eating them. So you do not want to be seen eating a guard by another guard. So if you imagine yourself maneuvering through this 3D landscape, you've got guards made of fries wandering around. You can catch one of them, eat them. If you stop eating a guard, then that guard will scream and alert the other guards. So once you start eating a guard, you need to finish until you stop. And that might take you like 10 minutes or something. Let's say it takes you 10 seconds to eat a guard. So you need to make sure that when you eat a guard, you're doing it in a location where none of the other guards wandering around are going to see you eating that guard. Okay, banana shooter. First thing that pops into my head is a first-person shooter where you have bananas for guns. But what Okay, I'm going to go back to the bananas bouncing around again. It's a first-person shooter, but instead of firing guns at each other, you're throwing bananas at each other. They're bouncy bananas, and they bounce at funny angles. And you want to sort of, you know that thing about in that film where they bend the bullets round corners? I can't remember what the film is called, but you can do that with bananas. Maybe you can throw the bananas like boomerangs, or maybe you can bounce them at funny angles. Maybe you know, like, you get an idea of what the trajectory of your banana will be, but they don't move in straight lines like bullets do. So, okay, a FPS and a first-person shooter where instead of firing bullets, you are throwing bananas, and these bananas follow weird trajectories. Okay, lamps in space. A game about lamps in space. So the lamps need to light something up. What are they going to light up? The moon, the stars. You have to make constellations, okay? Let's play this one with real lamps in the real space, and someone down below. Okay, this is going to be an expensive game to make, but we will do it with real astronauts. After this, I'm going to call Elon Musk. He's going to sort it all out, okay? So you get some astronauts to fly up into space with, like, big lamps that can be seen from below on Earth. And you need to arrange these lamps by flying around in your spaceship to spell out words and phrases and make little pictures. Maybe, you know, we set two teams against each other. So we get the Elon Musk team and the Jeff Bezos team. They each send a rocket up into space, and we'll say, you know, you call in, your challenge is to make a picture of a smiley face. And the astronauts need to arrange all their lamps into a smiley face that can be seen from the Earth, and the first team to do it wins. Okay, a frog in the throat. A frog in the throat. I feel like that's a reminder for me to drink water. Okay, so you're a frog in the throat and you're trying to get out by climbing on teeth or something. Or... Oh, okay. No, okay, let's go, because we've had a lot of physics simulators, right? I feel like I've been going for physics quite a lot. Let's do something narrative, where it's like Cyrano de Bergerac. So, you know, who speaks into the person's ear and the person just repeats what he says, like the genie in Aladdin when he's a bee. So, in this, you are a frog in someone's throat, and you have suggestions to make for what they need to say. So it's a romance simulator where you are, like, suggesting things that the protagonist should say, but they don't necessarily want to say that, so you need to persuade them as well. So you need to you have a dialogue with the protagonist, as, you know, you're the frog, the protagonist has you inside their throat, you have a dialogue with them, they have a dialogue with all the other characters that they want to romance. They will only take your directions if they trust you, but at the end, you want the protagonist to start dating the love interest, but you don't want them to actually kiss, because if they kiss, they will find out the protagonist will taste like frog and will be very upset. Okay, 12th idea, millennial pink. Okay, I'm on good pace for 100. Right, millennial pink. Millennial pink. Oh god, this is difficult. Pink. Pink gaffer tape. I've got a lot of pink gaffer tape. You can't see it on camera right now, but this whole stage is held together with pink gaffer tape. And millennials ruin everything, apparently. We're ruining the housing market. I saw a thing today about how millennials are ruining the housing market by trying to buy houses. So, let's go with that. Okay, so trying to buy houses, and you want to buy pink houses. Okay, so let's say it's a city builder. A city builder where you are trying to make a city that is appealing to people based on their favorite colors. and their favorite colors can be manipulated through advertising that you put up on billboards. So you want to manipulate people into buying houses that kind of create a beautiful pattern. Maybe there is a kind of a pattern that the game wants to see. For example, like, you know, the pattern of the Union Jack, you know, in blue, white, and red, or the German flag in yellow, black, and red. And you want to encourage people to move into houses of those colors in the same formation as was in the prompt. And the closer you get to that, the more points you get. Fries! Yay, more fries! Okay, so a game about fries. I feel like fries is being shouted. Why would you be shouting fries? It's because you're selling fries. You're a fries vendor. So it's like, get your fries, get your fries. So you are marching up and down, let's say it's a football stadium, and you want to sell fries. There's other fry sellers. Okay, this one's actually quite easy. This would be a nice kind of arcade game where you are running around a football stadium, and when you are close enough to someone who wants fries, you can throw fries to them. And maybe the further away, the harder it is to do it accurately. So it's like, do I get close to the person who wants fries, or do I risk throwing it from far away? There's a bunch of you, maybe it's a 4-player multiplayer game, you're all running around the stands of the stadium with the audience, throwing fries to people who want fries, trying to get more fries than anyone else sold. Maybe, like, you have to pick up the money in person as well. So even when someone has their fries, you still need to reach them in person. So when you've given them fries, all you've done is secured that payment from someone else. So there's this kind of, you know, all the different things that you might want are running counter to each other. Okay, sweet squirrel, as opposed to a salty squirrel or a savory squirrel. A sweet squirrel. Sweet squirrel would be a great, like, 90s video game protagonist. So, okay, let's go with that. It's a 90s platformer about a squirrel made out of sweets. A squirrel made out of candy. And there's all kinds of swimming challenges in it, and the water will dissolve you. Just like when you lick a lollipop, it starts to dissolve it. So the squirrel can only spend so much time in water without fully dissolving. So it's not just platforming challenges, you also have to work out the optimal route through the level that avoids you touching the right, you know, too much water. Maybe there's small cracks that you can't fit through unless you're small enough, so you want to dissolve yourself a little bit in the water so that you can go through the small cracks. Okay, Flower Tower, the absolute evil. So, a tower, is the tower made of flowers? Is it like a flower company? Do they grow flowers in the tower? Let's go with, they grow flowers in the... Oh, okay, no. Absolute evil Tower of Flowers. So you want to build a stack of flowers, so that they reach as high as they can, because the highest one will spread its pollen furthest, and plant most seeds. So it's a multiplayer game where you are stacking these kind of flower shapes on top of each other, and some of them will grow roots and that will help them stick together. Some of them won't. But they are all physics objects that you can stack up, and you have a time limit to make the highest tower, so that your flower can spread its roots the furthest. Spread its seeds the furthest. Cookie machine. A cookie machine is a machine that makes cookies. Cookie Monster is a cookie machine. I was like, I'm a cookie machine! Cookie machine, what would it do? It deletes your cookies. It's a machine that deletes cookies. Cookie machine. Oh god, this is a difficult one. I mean, okay, I know cookie clicker is already a thing. I don't want to copy that. So what would the opposite of cookie clicker be? It would be... cookie machine. You build them. Oh no, this is it. Okay, so it's a. you are piloting a mech, like a Gundam or like Evangelion kind of robot, made out of cookies, and and all of the and everyone wants to eat you. That's right. Okay, so you have to fight off the giant monsters, but you have to avoid large groups of people. Not because you'll stomp them, which will be obvious, but because if you go near large groups of people, they will start trying to eat you. And it is hard to fight off a giant monster while having your leg gnawed off by hungry people. So, Cookie Machine is a game about you are in a giant robot fighting giant monsters. You are made of cookies, and all the people want to eat you. So where you choose to fight is determined. You need to fight based on where the humans are, and maybe like the terrain makes it easier or harder to fight the monster. So you have to balance that, like, you know, the advantages of a good location with the disadvantages of there being a lot of people there who want to eat you. A game about your fancy t-shirt. I'm assuming you mean my fancy t-shirt. So, a game about my fancy t-shirt. So, my fancy t-shirt was made using glitches. I took a classic video game, Puyo Puyo, or Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine on the Sega Mega Drive, and I wrote random numbers into the memory until it crashed. I took screenshots whenever it crashed, and turned my favourite ones into t-shirts. So, it's got a front, and it's got a back. So, what would the game you make about this t-shirt be? I feel like it would make a kind of good terrain, really. Like, if you kind of, like, there's a sort of maze that you could make out of this. Imagine running around inside it. So, how about, like, a first-person shooter game where you run around inside people's clothing, and the patterns on their clothing become kind of like, you know, pathways and crevasses that you have to navigate through. But you can also, like, jump out of that clothing into other people's clothing. And maybe people are walking around. Sod it. Okay, take out the going into people's clothing. It's a first-person shooter where you're running around on a gun, on top of a person, like an ant runs around a person. And you can jump from person to person as they are walking around. And it's just a bunch of people walking around, say in a shopping centre, and you're these tiny people who can ride on their shirts and jump from shirt to shirt, and you have to shoot the other tiny little people. Let's say they're gnomes or something. Gnomes jumping from person to person, shooting each other with water pistols. And it's in a crowd, and it takes place in a crowd of people. I can picture that so much. So, okay, something has just crashed. So, you're going to have to type again, but let's see what else can come through. Sorry, if you have typed something in, type it in again, because unfortunately, we just had the Python script crash. So, okay, a game about Chocolate Raisins Box. Chocolate Raisins Box. It's a boxing game, like fighting, boxing, and you play as chocolate raisins. Why would that be interesting? I don't know. All these food ones, the risk is always going to be that people want to eat you. That's so, okay, do I do something else or do I just go with that? I've got to just go with that because the idea is present. Why would two chocolate raisins having a boxing match be scared of being eaten? So, okay, straight up, it's a boxing game. It's like Punch-Out on the Super Nintendo. Oh, God, Chocolate Raisins boxing. This is a tough one. Okay, it's two chocolate raisins boxing, okay? The better you do, the more you heat up. As you heat up, you start to melt, you start to stick to the ground, so it's harder for you to move. The better you're doing, the harder it is for you to move, making it easy for you to get punched. I think that one's fairly self-explanatory. Okay, I do not know why... okay, so the Python script has just broken again. That is frustrating. I'm really sorry about that. So, okay, keep it coming, keep them coming. Type in stuff you typed in again. I think it might be if you delete something, it might have problems with that. So yeah, maybe if you just don't delete any messages, please, that would be ideal. Okay, so, but type in, if you haven't typed, just type it in again if you typed in something already. And breathe social explosion. I unfortunately, it has not figured out how to fit that onto the screen properly. So, social explosion. What is a social explosion? It's when society explodes. Okay, I'm halfway through the time limit. I've only got 19 ideas, so I'm gonna have to hurry up. Social explosion. Social explosion. Oh god, this is really difficult. Why? Okay. Facebook. Facebook explodes. Facebook has exploded. All of your personal information is all over the internet. You need to find your personal information on the internet. It's a bunch of random websites. It's like an ARG, alternate reality game, a game spread out over a bunch of websites. You need to find those websites that have your personal information on them and delete them. Okay, the Python script crashes the internet, but the Play 19 crowd is happy. Okay, so, I like this. I like the happiness. Okay, the Play 19, the Python script crashes the internet. So I feel like something about rebuilding society after the Python script has crashed the internet. Let's say Python script crashing the internet. What does that mean? What does that mean? A game where... Okay, no, this is a game which takes place in a kind of interface like Windows Explorer or something. Just like you're clicking around a file system and there's pythons and you can see them slithering from location to location. And maybe a mongoose is what eats a python. So you have mongoose files and you have a the Python files are crawling around the network of folders in your computer, going from folder to folder. You need to find a Python. You need to find a folder with a mongoose in it. You need to find a folder with a Python in it, and you need to copy the mongoose into the Python folder so that it eats the Python, and then get rid of all the Pythons. Okay, the existential crisis of a potato. The existential crisis of a potato. Okay, so... Okay, I guess it has to be some kind of RPG or something. Okay, you are a potato, you're on a chopping board, a human is going to turn into chips, and the entire game is a conversation where you are the potato trying to convince the human not to chop you up and cook you and turn you into chips. Amazing Baking Deathmatch. Amazing Baking Deathmatch. I mean, we've got a title for the game already. That's beautiful. Amazing Baking Deathmatch would be a game where you have to... Let's say you play it with real cakes. This is a game played in real life. And you have to bake cakes. Okay, it's like Robot Wars played with real cakes. So Robot Wars was basically, they were like radio controlled cars, but with weapons and stuff attached, and metal armor and stuff, and you put them in an arena and make them fight each other. What if we did the same thing, but you had to bake the robots? So you make a robot out of cake. You actually bake a robot. So you want to make sure that you can bake like a really hard scone or something, so that you can make so that it will be good in an arena. There you go. It's a robot fighting game where you build real robots, you attach little radio controlled wheels to the bottom, and make cakes that fight each other. Old sneakers. Old sneakers. I want to think of a running game where your shoes can fall apart. So you had the old track and field games where you had to tap A B A B A B A B A B to run. What if you had something like that where your shoes could fall apart? Okay, so it's played with a Wiimote and nunchuck. So old Nintendo Wii game, Nintendo Wii sports game where you're running by shaking the remotes like this, but if you but your shoes will fall apart, and if your shoe falls apart, you need to take the corresponding controller, put it down, and then that signifies taking off that shoe, and maybe you get another one. You pick it up, you have to stop and do things in order to replace your shoes. So there you go. Wiimote and nunchuck, track and field game. When your shoe falls off, you need to do something with the Wiimote or the nunchuck, depending on which shoe fell off, in order to get a new shoe put on. Okay, Dungeons and Cookies. Dungeons and Cookies. What would a game about Dungeons and Cookies be? It would be, okay, so... I mean, it would be basically Pac-Man if, imagine crawling around a dungeon and you want to eat all of the cookie monsters, the monsters made of cookies, the cookie monsters. You want to eat the cookie monsters. How do you eat the cookie monsters? You, oh, God, okay, oh god, this is difficult. Why is this so difficult? I mean, I've kind of just said basically Pac-Man with Cookie Monster. So let's say what makes it different from Pac-Man is it's all played in the first person. And maybe when you eat a monster made of cookies, you get to see a wonderfully visceral, bloodthirsty, as crumbs go everywhere, and you see the jaw munching down on the monster. So it's the cookie equivalent of being bloodthirsty. Cat Cafe. Cat Cafe has just come up. So, do you run a cat cafe? Are you a person with allergies in a cat cafe? You're a person who is allergic to cats in a cat cafe, and you are trying to stay distanced from all the cats. And it's like, you get points for each time you can sit down and take a proper sip of your coffee. So you're moving around this cat cafe. Maybe it's a top-down view, maybe it's a 3D kind of top-down view like Metal Gear Solid. You're moving around this cafe, trying to avoid the cats, taking sips of your coffee, and it's like you want to get as much time with your cup of coffee, but if a cat gets too close, you'll start sneezing, so you need to move around to avoid the cats that are moving around. So you want to minimize your proximity to cats, maximize your drinking of coffee. The challenge, of course, being that the cats act very independently. They move around. Maybe some cats are friendly, and you need to make sure that the friendly cats find you unfriendly. So it's like scare them away or something. But you don't want the cats to get angry and attack you, so you've got that kind of thing. Grand Theft Salad, which could be a game about stealing salad from a salad bar. So let's say it's a stealth game. A stealth game where you are hidden behind a salad bar and there's people walking around getting different bits of salad and they're going, oh, I'll go over here and go over here. And you are paying attention for when they can, when they're seeing you. And, or maybe you're just standing there as well and you want to take a piece of salad without them noticing you do it. So maybe it could be kind of like Werewolf or Among Us or something, where you are trying to get a free salad. You know, everyone else is paying for salad or something, and you're just... Everyone else is using the tongs. You are just using your hands, very COVID unsafe. And you don't want the other people that you're playing with to notice that you're using your hands. So you can only pick up salad when nobody is looking at you. But you don't want people to think you don't want people thinking that, you know, if you're looking around at people's faces, then they're going to know that you're the hand salad person. So it's, yeah. So it's like Among Us. So it'll sell really well. It's a hidden role game where one person's hidden role is they are the person who picks up salad with their bare hands instead of the tongs. And you need to get your salad secretly. I'm really happy with that one. Okay. Giant people playing on tiny instruments. Oh god, I almost want to make the tiny instruments myself for this one. So let's do that. This is actually, I think this one writes itself. It's an alternative controller game where we are going to make musical instruments that are really, really small. So we're going to solder them together using tweezers and things like that. And then it's like, you know, Guitar Hero or Band Hero, or Rock Band or something, where you have a tune that you all have to play together, and it judges you on how accurately you do it, but the instruments are tiny and the buttons are really close together. 100 games in 1 hour. A game about coming up with 100 games in 1 hour, which, I mean, in some respect, I call what I'm doing right now a game, but I appreciate this is more of a kind of improv game than it is, say, a video game. So what would this be as a video game? The video game version of this is you type into chat the thing that the person on the other hand has to come up with. So what if it's instead of what if the person on the other side of the screen is not a human being performing, but is a bot? And you want, okay, a randomly selected game will be thrown up. So it might say Super Mario Brothers, Tetris, Sonic the Hedgehog, Call of Duty. Okay, you need to type into something, you type in a prompt. An AI is going to come up with a game based on that prompt. Your job is to come up with a prompt that causes them to come up with the game in the description without using the words in the description. So you can't, if you're supposed to get it to come up with Call of Duty, you can't just type in Call of Duty. But what can you type in that will cause the AI that is basically me, or you could do it with a human being, you could do it with me. What can you type in order to get me to describe Call of Duty? And, you know, everyone, you get a point if you do it. Like the first idea that matches the person who wrote it get a point. Okay, I really like that one. So like, if you need me to explain it like better, just say. But yeah, okay. Pumpkin cream soup. Pumpkin cream soup is a game about. Okay, I have got. So I'm 40 minutes in. I've given myself. So I have got 15 minutes left according to the clock, 20 minutes according to reality, because I said 60 minutes. Pumpkin cream soup. Pumpkin cream soup is a game about stirring soup. You're stirring pumpkin and cream soup. You've got loads and loads of bowls and soup where cream has been added at random times to it. So you need to stir them up to the right consistency. But you also don't want the cream to be in the pot too long. Otherwise, the cream will be overcooked and it will create a bitter flavour. Or maybe it's just like, yeah, it's... Okay, you have a lot of pots of pumpkin soup and we're going to model them kind of physically, sort of, you know... and you can swirl them with a spoon. And you want to make a beautiful spiral of cream in each one. So each one starts with a blob of cream in it. And you need to turn your spoon around to make a beautiful spiral. Maybe there is a specific picture that you need to make in the soup by dragging the cream around with your spoon. And, you know, you get points based on how accurate you are. And maybe how it's like each bowl you manage to do this with, you will get points for how accurate it is. So you want to make a lot of pictures in soup. You also want to make a lot of, but you also want to make them accurate for the points. Crispy kale. Crispy kale. Crispy kale. Crispy kale. Okay. Crispy kale. A game where so kale has an interesting texture to it. It's kind of it's all lumps and bumps and ridges. So a game about crispy kale would be a game where you have oh, oh god, this is tough. This is tough. This is tough. A game about crispy kale would mean a oh god, I don't know why I'm really struggling with the crispy kale. There has been a lot of food. So maybe that's where I go. Okay, crispy kale. What do you do with crispy kale? You eat it. It's a game about chewing with your mouth full. So crispy kale. Or you want to okay, let's it's a stealth game. It's another stealth game. It's a stealth game where you're at dinner table, you don't want to eat your kale, your mum wants you to eat your kale, so you need to find points in the dinner where your mum is not looking, where you can spit out your kale into somewhere that she's not looking. So you get a big mouthful of kale, and then you wait for her to go over to the sink to wash a dish or something, and then, you go over to the dog bowl, spit it out, and go back to your seat. And you don't want your mum to notice that you're not eating your crispy kale. A crying elephant and a carrot. Okay, so this is a double act. The carrot is like a companion, which fits the theme of the festival this year. So that's nice. A crying elephant and a carrot is a game about oh, okay. Okay, the first thing I thought of for some reason was a painting. You're trying to paint a picture of a crying elephant and a carrot. I think the idea of a crying elephant is quite evocative, so it would look good on a painting. So it's a game where you have to paint pictures like a crying elephant. The first one is crying elephant, but we'll have it's another physics-based thing where you have something attached to the end of the brush. So say, you have to paint a painting with a brush, and we have a physically modeled brush which leaves paint goo behind. But with each painting you get given a different 3D physics rigid body object. So, a perfectly modeled 3D carrot, the next one's a cabbage, the next one's an aubergine. It's a series of paintings you have to do with vegetables, 3D modeled vegetables. Mental health. So okay, I want to think a game about mindfulness. And mindfulness is very much, a lot of mindfulness is like doing nothing and just sitting with your feelings, and letting yourself experiencing them. So how could you gamify that? Because it's an interesting one, because when your mind goes to thinking about the game, it's like the game. If your mind goes to thinking about the game, then you're not being mindful anymore. Your mind is wandering. You're thinking. So you need to switch off thought. What does it mean to switch off thought? What would be a game that is this paradoxical? Is there a way that this could not be a paradox, to make a mindfulness game which encourages you to switch off? The mindfulness game which encourages you to switch off, and it would be, a random timer that at certain time periods you meditate, you sit and you meditate, and at certain time periods the timer asks you, are you thinking? Is your mind wandering? And you can think to yourself, yay, I did good, I give myself a point, if when it asked you, is your mind wandering, your mind was not wandering. Clamorous. I love the name. I love that. That's the best name for a game we've had so far. I love it. Clamorous. So you've got clams. Clams at a beauty festival, or a beauty parlor. Oh, a beauty parlor game. Where you are painting makeup onto clams. So you can make them beautiful. Maybe they want big clam eyelashes and things. Yeah. I mean, I think it could move something like Surgeon Simulator or something where it is kind of awkward to put makeup on a clam. But or it could just be pleasant and it's quite easy and you can have fun painting clams in different ways and putting different kinds of makeups on clams to make beautiful different clams. And then as you go on, we introduce octopuses and we introduce maybe fish, and you need to make beautiful fish by giving them makeup and pampering them and doing their fish fingernails and things like that. Ghost in the Bell, a somewhat religious game. Okay, so I'm thinking that's for the bell, the religious bell. It's the bell of a church tower. The monks ring the bell to say it's morning and Jesus is coming or something. So the monks are ringing the bell. Let's think bell ringing. What games could you make about bell ringing? Time is running out, so maybe it is just like Guitar Hero, but bell ringing. Bell ringing Guitar Hero. And in Where is the Ghost? It's you're using the music because it's a ghostly ball. It's a ghostly ball, so the ghosts want beautiful music to dance to waltz to at their ball, and so you need to bell ringing, pull on the bell ringing things to make the music for the beautiful ghost ball. And the fun thing with this game is you can play it as a group of you, but the fewer people there are in the group, the harder it gets, because, ringing one bell, that's easy. If there's 9 bells and there's, one person for bell, that's fine. 3 people with 3 bells each, that gets more difficult. 2 people with, and they've got to share all the bells. I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, 35. Idea 35. Moving abroad. Okay, so moving abroad. What do you have to do in a game about moving abroad? You have to navigate a road layout. Because this is the thing. When I did an Erasmus year in France, my dad drove me down to France. We had the car filled up with my luggage and stuff, and he drove me down to Lyon in France. And then when we got there, the hardest bit of the journey was once we got into Lyon, into the city centre, and I found out that my Google map that I printed off, because this was 2008, before smartphones, so I printed off a Google map, it did not have all the roads on it. So let's have, you're trying to get to a certain destination with really weird road layouts and road rules, and you do not want to be stopped by the police in this strange unknown location with rules you don't understand. Clamorous. We've had Clamorous already, so I'm going to skip that one to Puppy Tennis. Oh, and we've had another crash. So that's fun. I do not know what causes it to crash. That came in after Yoga Simulator, so that's strange. So anyway, the last few have unfortunately been missed. So anything that came in after Yoga Simulator, please type it in again. 5 more minutes. I am not going to make 100 unless I go really, really fast. Puppy Tennis. It's like Mario Tennis, but instead of hitting a ball around, you're hitting puppies. Angry Accordion. It's, okay, an accordion. It's Donkey Kong. It's like Donkey Kong, but you can kind of spring around like an accordion, and you need to accordion yourself over all the barrels. Empty Fish Tank. Empty Fish Tank. It's, okay, I don't know if this is a real life game or a game for things, but you have an empty fish tank, you sit inside of it, you tie a skateboard to it, and you roll it down a hill, and you need to get down like a busy street without crashing into any cars and getting fish tank glass all over you. You gotta be fast. Is a game where you have to come up with 100 ideas in 1 hour. A Sad Dance Simulator, where it's Sad Dance Simulator is a game about being at a party but wanting to stay as distance from everyone else as you can or something. No, it's a dancing game that rates your score not on how well you met the things, met the commands, but on how droopy and floppy your arms and legs are. Game title: Ridiculously Sticky Rectangle Part 2. The Ridiculously Sticky Rectangle. Okay, so okay, so it's like a platformer, but you are a sticky rectangle and you pick up debris along the way. The challenges involve, like, there's some areas, like, you need to be a certain size to get through. So you need to stick to things in order to get bigger, kind of like a Katamari, but the rectangle edges are sticky. You stick to things in order to get heavy, so you can push down on a switch, but then you need to get rid of the heavy things on you. So maybe there's like a chainsaw or something. If you've got a pumpkin on you, you need to roll over to the chainsaw, so the chainsaw cuts the pumpkin up, you don't have it anymore, and so you're smaller again. Alone on Earth. Okay, it's a game set on a planet. And there's 2 people on each planet, these big spherical planets. You need to find the other person. And you can do it by running around, but you can also do it by building drones which will fly around and try to find this person. And the drones send you back imperfect information, so you have to figure out where the other person is on the planet. Maybe they just send you photographs, so you can see landmarks in the photographs. You can figure out where the other person is by looking at the photographs and going to that place and trying to find them, but of course they might have moved because they're looking for you. Ghost in the Bell, a somewhat religious game. We've had Japan. A game about Japan would be... what would be a game about Japan? Japan Olympics 2020. Okay, so it's all the team sports from the Olympics. But because of COVID, everyone has to be socially distanced. So it's team sports, but you have an enforced 2 meters. As in, okay, basically any kind of sport, but you have a hoop around you that is 2 meters wide, so that you cannot be closer than 2 meters to another person. So you have to stay socially distanced the whole time. And imagine, like, doing football like that. Or imagine, basketball or rugby or something where you're supposed to make contact. A rugby game where you have 2 meter wide rubber rings around you so you can't bash into each other properly. Okay, getting your first gaming console. I'm assuming that was Christmas and it's just truncated Christmas. Otherwise, you got a gaming console on Christ. Okay, so getting your first gaming console on Christmas. Okay. It's a microphone game, and you have to shout out the name of the console as loud as you can as soon as you unwrap it. So you get points for how loudly you shouted, and you also get points for naming the correct console. And the computer is judging what it can tell what you're saying, so it's judging what you say. So you want to shout N64 at the top of your voice. Okay, title, only 1 minute left. Oh, okay. I reckon I can get to 50. No, I've got 5 seconds left. So, okay, I've got... okay, I need to wrap up soon, don't I? Okay, I'm going to keep on going for 5 more minutes. I want to get up to 50 in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to keep on going and till it ticks over to 1 hour. Title, only 1 minute left. Unless you type into the chat, no, Alistair, we genuinely mean stop. Type that into chat if you want me to stop. Anyway, only 1 minute left. Okay, it's a game where everything is only 1 minute long, or it's like any game. It's a mod for any game where at a certain point it says you have 1 minute to do this. So say you're playing Zelda Ocarina of Time, and it's like suddenly you have 1 minute to get to the water temple. And it's like, wherever you are right now, you have to drop everything to get to the water temple. And if you don't do it in 1 minute, it kills you and deletes your game. The History of Moss is a book made of moss. It's a choose-your-own-adventure book where the book is made of moss. So you have to peel back the moss to read the bits that you want to see, but some of the text may have been eroded by the moss, so it's no longer legible. Yeah, so a choose your own adventure book where some of the words are covered in moss. Maybe it's written on gravestones. Okay, a virus that is highly infective and gets ridiculous things. I think what you do with this game is it's you simulate a massive group of people as, like, you know, kind of like Pac-Man style. Like, you have 300 people, each of you plays a different person, and you need to collide with people to give them your virus, and then they have your virus, and they'll start bouncing around based on how hardly you collided with them. They'll bounce around, and they'll bounce into other people, causing collisions, causing the spread. Kind of like snooker balls. You hit the snooker ball, it hits another snooker ball, knocks it flying, also infects it with snooker disease. And you take your shots at the same time, and whoever can infect the most other snooker balls wins. Seasons, a game about seasons would be a game about seasons where you need to plant trees before the snow falls, and you need to protect them from slugs and things, seasons. You're a god who controls the position of the sun, and different locations need different seasons at different times, so you need to move the sun around in the sky to give them the sun. Hi, Alistair. I'm glad one of these came through. Okay, hi, Alistair. So you know, Hey You Pikachu, where you had to tell Pikachu how to, you know, it was an N64 game where you had to speak into the microphone and Pikachu would do that. Let's just basically do that here. Like, I want you to tell me to cook something, or you got a challenge. You've been given a secret challenge, okay? Someone has told you, oh, you need to get Alistair to do something. And you need to type into chat for things for me to do. I will do them. But at no point, if I guess what I've been told to do, you lose. So you need to get me to do that thing by typing into chat without me finding out what the thing that you were, you know, that the judge gave you to tell me to do was, if that makes sense. A board game night with unmotivated friends. I like this idea of having, you've got a board game, a simple board game, you know, like chess or checkers or something that everyone knows. But the hard part is encouraging people to take their moves. And maybe different people, you have different AI competitors around the board who have different motivations. Maybe some of them want to win, some of them want to lose, some of them, you know, so you need to keep the game going. You want to win the board game, but you also want all of these different AI characters to be satisfied and continue playing. And if they get unsatisfied, they'll flip the board over. That was 50 ideas. 50 ideas in 60 minutes. It's half as much as I thought, as I wrote down that I said I would, but genuinely, I am really happy with 50 ideas in 1 hour. Let's see if I can do leeks versus broccoli. The script broke again. I don't know why it does that. That's something for me to find out later. Yeah. Okay. Oh god, what do I say from now on? Okay, I've gone over the 60 minutes. So I am going to do this last one for luck, and then this will be me winding up. So a game about leeks versus broccoli would be a game in which... Okay, let's go for a simple sword fighting game. Let's just do a real life game with real life vegetables where it's like fencing, like sword fighting. You have a piece of paper, you get given a card with a body part on it, and you need to touch your opponent on that body part with that vegetable. And you play in a supermarket. So, or in a greengrocer's or something. So there's vegetables everywhere. And it's like, you draw, back of the right knee with an aubergine. So you have to find an aubergine and then get someone on the back of the right knee with it. And it's like, whoever does it first does it. I am really happy with this. But unfortunately, as you can see from the bottom of the screen there, my time is up. So let's say, that was about an hour. I managed 51 brand new ideas in 1 hour. I think it's very unlikely I'm going to make the 100. I'll be honest, I like to set myself a high goal. Even if I know I'm not going to reach it, it's like, you got to shoot for the moon. And even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. And I'm quite happy with some of the ones that we came up with. If you want to, just type in, if there was an idea that really spoke up to you, just type it in now, maybe put a smiley face at the start so I know what it is. But I have really enjoyed doing this. This has been incredibly fun. I hope you all had fun as well. Will the stream be uploaded? That is a good question. And thank you very much. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. It's nice. It's really nice to see all of these nice words come in. Thank you very much. I've had a lot of fun. This has been really, really good fun. But I guess it is time for me to move on. So I'm just going to wait for a message from the backstage team here at Play. But while I do that, there is going to be plenty more of Play Festival tomorrow and going on until a date I cannot quite remember yet, but I think it's going on for the rest of the week. Importantly, there is more of Play Festival starting tomorrow morning, and there is what else can I say? There's more Play starting tomorrow morning. We've got a little bit coming on after this, where Christiana and the team are going to tell you a bit about what is going to be coming on next. Also, stay tuned if you want to see more of me and my lovely face. I'm going to be back on Monday as part of the Play's Next Top Companion stream. So please do tune in for that. It will be an absolute delight to see you all there. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Play Festival. Have a great evening. Look after yourselves. I'm going to hand you over to Christiana now, and I shall see you all again soon.